Chubb Limited, a global insurance giant, and its CEO, Evan Greenberg, are under fire. A non-profit, Consumers Research, has launched a multi-million-dollar campaign accusing Chubb and Greenberg of being too close to the Chinese government. The campaign, called China Chubb, uses TV ads, a website, and a mobile billboard in Washington, D.C. to make its case. Will Hild, the group's executive director, claims Greenberg treats Chinese President Xi Jinping as a partner, putting profits over U.S. interests. The campaign questions where corporate loyalty should lie when business interests clash with American values. Chubb now faces a public relations crisis, with accusations touching on patriotism, human rights, and U.S.-China relations. The controversy forces Americans to ask, how should U.S. companies operate in countries with authoritarian governments? Where is the line between smart business and questionable alliances? Critics point to Greenberg's high-profile interactions with Chinese leaders as evidence of troubling ties. In November 2023, Greenberg introduced President Xi at a San Francisco dinner, calling a strong China a force for good. He chairs the National Committee on U.S.-China Relations, which sold pricey tickets for a banquet with Xi, drawing congressional criticism. Photos show Greenberg shaking hands with Xi and other top officials, fueling claims of an overly cozy relationship. He also serves on the advisory board of Tsinghua University, which has links to China's military. Critics argue that these roles lend American credibility to Chinese institutions and risk supporting China's strategic goals. For them, Greenberg's actions cross the line from business diplomacy to enabling a rival power. The campaign uses these connections to question whether U.S. business leaders are putting national interests at risk. Chubb and its allies call the campaign misleading, insisting Greenberg is no friend to Beijing. They say he's openly criticized China's authoritarianism and urged the U.S. to push back against unfair practices. Former National Security Advisor Robert O'Brien defends Greenberg, arguing Chubb's China operations benefit the U.S. by reducing the trade deficit. China expert Michael Pillsbury says Greenberg relays American business frustrations directly to Chinese leaders, informing U.S. policy. Supporters argue that engagement, not isolation, is key, especially for a global insurer like Chubb. They claim that having a presence in China allows American companies to advocate for U.S. interests from within. Chubb's acquisition of a majority stake in Huatai Insurance is cited as a win for American business in China. For defenders, Greenberg is a pragmatic leader navigating a complex relationship, not an appeaser. Greenberg's record is complex, sometimes critical of U.S. policy, sometimes blunt about China's risks. He's called for less U.S. rhetoric on Taiwan, a stance critics say echoes Beijing, but he's also warned of China's aggression and bullying. Chubb's annual reports label China a revisionist power and highlight U.S. goals to limit Chinese hegemony. These contradictions fuel debate. Is Greenberg prioritizing business access or defending American interests? Family history adds to the scrutiny. His father, Hank Greenberg, has deep business ties in China, suggesting a generational pattern. Critics see this as decades of cozying up to authoritarian regimes. Supporters call it long-term engagement and insight. The mixed signals leave the public questioning Chubb's true stance. Is this pragmatism, or a willingness to overlook troubling realities for profit? The Chubb controversy highlights a core dilemma. Should American companies engage with China or draw a hard line? Critics say any engagement is complicity, demanding companies put national values above profits. Defenders argue that global business requires engagement, even with adversaries, to promote U.S. interests and gather intelligence. Withdrawing from China, they warn, would cede ground to competitors and reduce American influence. Greenberg's actions, introducing Xi, criticizing China's bullying, embody this tension. Is he a savvy diplomat or crossing ethical lines? The debate forces us to ask what we expect from corporate leaders in a divided world. As the campaign rages on, the question remains: can American business succeed globally without compromising national principles?